Hey there, we had a quick problem that we had to sort through, but we are back up and running and we're getting the life totals up to date. Doug's now at 9. Yeah, awesome. Okay, we apologize for that short break, but we will get back into this match. It seems like a lot has changed since we last saw it.
Yeah, Doug just has like 5 Lilianas in play, and Sam still has a whole bunch of elves.
Okay, so 9 to 16 is the appropriate life total.
All right,
Here we go.
Should be good. All right, so it looks like some elves have died on Sam's side of the board, or been discarded to Liliana. Looks like Doug has Resolved Tassiger and a Tarmogoyf. Just a bunch of 4/5s. And is trying to defend himself from the Crater Hoof Behemoth that is still in Sam's hand.
No, it looks like he's had to discard that, so that's gone.
That is a Nettle Sentinel.
They're both kind of off the topping here. Doug's going to take 2 from Bob. Draw this Terminate. Ooh, and a Maelstrom Pulse. 2 removal spells for the turn. That's quite good.
Yeah.
So he's also got Olivia in his hand. So he kind of has to make a decision here about whether he wants to play the Olivia and try and get that online, which could become very, very powerful. It's a little worse into this board because Sam does have an Elvish Archdruid to pump all his creatures. So that has to be taken down first.
Yeah, so I think Doug is going to attack here to see if Sam wants to make any blocks so he can kind of use his removal spells on the leftovers. But it looks like Sam's not having any of it. Yep, Maelstrom Pulse this guy. Probably gonna... gonna just not do anything with the Liliana, hold up the Terminate. Which is fine. That means he can... I mean, Sam only has 1 card in hand, so as long as he can keep on top of him with removal spells, all he's doing is racing his own Bob. No, Olivia seems like a spicy one against elves.
With the way that his hand is now, Sam has to draw very well to be able to beat that.
I assume it starts with a Court of Calling or a Collected Company. Collected Company would be a very good one. But I mean, Doug's life total is really low, so if there's an Azuri anywhere near this, okay. Well, this is actually really good.
Yeah, he's going to respond by taking out the Elvish Archdruid.
Yeah.
Scavenging Ooze is good, but there's only 1 green source in play for Doug, so I don't know that that's actually going to do very much here.
No, I think he just needs to play this Tarmogoyf for this Olivia after he swings in to just put another threat on the table. Just overpower Sam. Sam is at the point now where he has to block something. I mean, Doug can even swing with this Dark Confidant.
We're getting word that Sam's actually a little bit lower. He's at 6 life and not 8.
Okay.
Had a miscommunication with our table spotter here. So this is a lethal attack presented. And Sam is incentivized strongly not to block the Bob because that's one of his best ways to win this game is to hope that Bob flips something quite large. So I think chump blocking the Tarmogoyf and not taking 5 seems like a good option, but also just taking 2 from the Bob seems very good here as well. I would expect to see a +1 from Lily discarding the Scavenging Ooze because I don't think that does a whole lot.
I mean, it's just a 2/2 on this board. Yeah, and then he can play the Tarmogoyf. No, he can play the Olivia. Olivia seems better.
It's a flying he can play attacker. Olivia because that's a lethal in the air. Yeah, he does discard Ooze. And here's the Olivia. Yeah, that's the exact same line we thought of.
So actually, the Olivia is not quite lethal in air. It can only get to a 5/5. as he can only activate it twice with his...
I believe he did not block the Bob, so he's at 4.
Oh, he did not. You are correct. Okay, yeah. So
yeah,
Olivia's super lethal.
Pump it once, and it's definitely going to kill Sam unless he has a way to kill it.
Yeah, and this elf deck is not known for their ability to interact.
No, I believe he's dead. Yep. So we got here just to show you the end of game 1, and we will go into our sideboarding options for both of these players. We'll see what our table spotter has to say about their options.
Also, if you're just joining us, we are hot off the trail of Star City Games Regionals, which was on Saturday.
Yep.
Both Nathan and I were in attendance, and we had a busy day. Busy day. Much talking about Magic cards was done that day.
That's true.
But it was a lot of fun. Did you have a good time, bud?
I did, and I think that the product was pretty nice. I'm interested in going back and watching it. For those of you who are interested to do that, the VODs are up on our Twitch past broadcasts.
Correct.
So you just have to go there, and there's almost 15 hours worth of content for you guys. Standard, new set, tech.
Magic Origins Standard.
Yeah, we had some very interesting stuff.
Oh, yeah, we had some spicy decks at the top tables all day that day. I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't watched it yet, because you definitely should, but the deck that wins has to go through play against some spicy brews to get to where he's going.
Interesting. So Sam's sideboard seems to be a little bit piecemeal. I think I see like a Darksteel Axe and an Essence Warden, and I'm not sure.
Essence Warden's a spicy one.
Yeah, that's not great.
It's a good sideboard.
In this matchup?
Oh no, not against Doug.
Yeah, it's very
against Twin. It's insane.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Make infinite guys. Gain
it's also
infinite
got
life.
some Beast Withins, Burnt and Forge Tender. I think I see Croson Grip as well. So Thragtusk coming here.
Is that a Karmic
guy? Oh no, that's Path to Exile.
No. Kitchen Finks. Yeah.
So Kitchen Finks, Path to Exile. I believe that's a discard spell. Couldn't quite tell which promo version of which discard spell that was.
Sure.
But I can almost imagine, or I can almost guarantee that that's a 1 black discard spell coming in. Actually, it might be Dismember.
For Sam, I believe it is Dismember. Sam doesn't actually have any black mana in his deck, I believe. Most of these decks are just running all green lands and then some the fast land from Scars of Mirrodin.
Yep.
So Doug is just gonna want to put in just more removal spells. Discard seems kind of average here.
Yeah, he looks to be trimming some Bobs and some Thoughtseizes.
He just wants more bolts, more terminates. Just if you can answer the Elves deck early plays, they lose a lot of momentum very quickly.
Yeah, so I think I see some Pyroclasms, a Damnation. Those may be copies of Kitchen Finks.
Not terrible.
Not awful.
It's not great, but
a Tassiger also coming out, and here we go.
Ooh, an Engineered Explosives.
Also EE. Yeah,
that's a spicy
one. Excellent in this matchup. EE on 1 or 3 is very, very good.
Again, I think it's probably a little better on 1 because if you, that's a lot of Kitchen Finks.
He's deciding against a couple of the Kitchen Finks and bringing back in Inquisitions. I like that. I like the discard spells.
Inquisition does.
I don't like the Thoughtseizes.
Hits almost everything. Yeah, Thoughtseizes.
Inquisition does hit just about everything.
Yeah.
Like Collected Company is the only miss.
Also, Craterhoof
Behemoth. Not something you typically see, but also not something that you can take.
And
with
now
Inquisition.
Thragtusk after board.
Thragtusk after board.
Whew. I wonder if Sam has the main deck copy of Spellskite that a lot of these elf decks have been playing recently.
I would hope so. I think that card's very, very good in the format.
Oh, yeah. It's insane in the format, and it's also a really great Collected Company or Court of Calling target. To get a Spellskite into play at instant speed is a good way to just, like, completely wreck your opponent's plans. All right. Doug looks like he's being even more indecisive about his board. Now we don't want Bobs, and we're bringing back in the Finks. All right. That's understandable.
I think Bob is good in this matchup.
Yeah, me too.
Like he really can't get it off the table, and then you just attack with it over and over. And
Well,
if he blocks it,
Not
probably
only
gonna trade
that,
for
but
something.
like you're trying to trade removal spell for creatures, and all his creatures cost way less than your removal spells. So you're gonna want to start regassing at some point anyway, because you're gonna run out, and he's not gonna run out of dudes, because that's his entire deck.
Yeah, it really lets you see more cards and get to those damnations and pyroclasms faster.
But Kitchen Finks does in fact play better with Pyroclasm and Damnation, so maybe Doug's trying to.
Yeah, it's a coin flip for me. I personally would I love Bob, and Dark Confidant is a card that I can't get away from it.
I mean, that card
Unless
is insanely good.
unless they're actively pointing burn spells at my face in this format, I think that like that card's great. Because if you can do the math on the table, you can engineer ways to get him off. Like you can get him away so that you don't die to him.
All right,
it's
well,
not that bad.
Oh, well, Doug's hand looks like a snap keep.
Oh, green.
If it's a land,
Green.
oh, come on. He might keep it anyway. It has 2 bolts in it, which is really good. And a Black Cliffs is the only land he has.
It is highly speculative. Yeah, we
Oh,
see it.
Dougie Fresh, do it. I believe in
I
you.
believe since he's raised his hand up to the camera, that means he's keeping.
Yeah. Sam is
on the
definitely
draw.
keeping.
Oh man.
Oh, Verdant
wow.
Catacombs off the top.
What a champion.
Doug knew it was there. I believe the new
Had it.
the new
I had
Mulligan rules. He
Yeah.
misjudged it and scried before.
No, certainly didn't do anything of the sort. But looks like Sam's hand's very good. He's got a copy of Scavenging Ooze, copy of Elvish Archdruid, Azuri,
Yeah, that
also
turn
Heritage Druid.
that turn 1 bolt really messed up his plans though, because he really wants to put a
Thumbs up from both of our players.
Archdruid into play on turn 2 off that Llanowar Elf.
If I'm Sam, do you want to take out Heritage Druid? You just expect all your elves to die and never to have 3 of them.
It's not great, but
And then if you have 3, are you overextending a little bit? Like
I have played with the Elves deck quite a bit, and Heritage Druid is like your most important engine piece, so I can see how it's kind of tough to decide to side them out. I mean, I see your point, but like if you ever collected Company or Court of Calling for one, it's also very cheap.
Doug is
to
going to take 3 off of this fetch.
Oh goodness,
Collected.
many much damage.
So go ahead and finish. Collected for 3.
Oh yeah, so you can Court of Calling for 3 or for 4. It's very cheap to get into play, and once you do, you can do some just obscene things with this card.
Looks like he's going to opt for the Bolt and Inquisition line here. I like taking probably the Scavenging Ooze.
Really?
Oh, really interesting. Oh, I suppose he has a copy of Terminate in his hand, so I suppose he's not super scared. I'm just thinking with...
Well, the Ooze can't use its ability the turn it comes into play anyway.
Not unless Sam draws
A green source off the top.
Yeah.
Which it does
Does
not look like
he did that. Oh, here's an elf. So that's reasonable.
Ooh,
there's that.
killing that Heritage Druid ended up being really good.
I
'cause
definitely agree here.
Nettle Sentinel Heritage Druid is a combo wombo.
Just going to go ahead and take out that thing. You can have your crummy Nettle Sentinel, but Scavenging Ooze can't stay in play.
I think he's trying to clear the way for his own Scavenging Ooze.
I think minor sequencing error there from Sam. I'd like to see an attack be... well, I suppose he misses out on a damage. But if he doesn't have a green spell to untap it, he's missing out on damage in the long run. So we'll see what the last card in his hand is.
I mean, his deck is...
Looks like Tarmogoyf is a 4/5.
Nope. Nettle Sentinel does not untap on your untap step. There it is.
Yep.
He must have heard me.
Indeed. I still think getting in for 2 and then playing Archdruid is better, because then you get in for 3 next turn, you guarantee yourself a swing. If he has options here and he's just pondering them, then I like playing it pre-combat.
He might just be Hollywooding the double land.
That would be interesting.
No, he...
I think I see spells. It's difficult. He's playing them close to the chest today.
I mean, Doug's hand has gotten better since his original 7. I see 2 Lilianas and a Scavenging Ooze and the Maelstrom Pulse from his opener.
Yeah, so there is a Mystic.
Oof. 2 oh, no.
I think he's just going to play them both here. Oh, interesting.
But no attacks, huh?
Oh, and Doug rips the third land. It's a pretty reasonable one here.
This Maelstrom Pulse is going to be gross.
I think it is very good. His attack's, of course, stonewalled by the Tarmogoyf.
So, I'm pretty sure you just get the 2-for-1 off the Nettle Sentinels, right? Like, the Archdruid is the better card, but that's just so tasty. I can't not do it, yeah.
I agree. I like that play. There are a lot of utility for the deck, and getting them off the table is a priority for Doug. It's also just 2-for-1. It makes his Liliana's better going to future turns.
Speaking of Liliana.
Yeah, there's the Liliana. Just going to minus and then play this thing and say go.
No, he's coming in.
Oh, the attacks start. This is a bad news for Sam. By not leaving it up to protect the Liliana, it threatens another Liliana, which maybe Sam is thinking about that, and maybe he just doesn't attack here. So here's 3.
Yep, just going to give 3 upstairs.
Yeah. He's certainly going to turn the card sideways. What I meant to say was that he's certainly not going to attack the Liliana and threaten to, give Doug some life gain while not actually removing the threat of Liliana.
Well, we got more where that came from. Oh, or do we? We do.
Yeah, we're just going to...
Run it back.
Just going to go ahead and make this sacrifice happen.
And there's a Planeswalker.
Planeswalker making the Tarmogoyf just a little bit bigger. Doug's hand's still very good going forward.
Yeah, he picked up a Colligan's command somewhere.
I think I like Doug's top of the deck and his cards in hand versus Sam's top of the deck in board position.
Sam's cards
that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one from Sam.
I mean, it works just like Mox Emerald, right?
I suppose. At this point, there's no difference. Oh, well, if he discards a Mox Emerald, I think that makes Tarmogoyf a little bit bigger.
No.
So it's actually better than Mox.
You heard it here first, guys. Forest, strictly better in all circumstances
That are
to Mox
identical
Emerald.
to this.
Said by Nathan Satterfield. You can find him at Nathan Satterfield on Facebook.
Oh, no. What have I done? Here's another attack from the Tarmogoyf. If I'm Doug, I think I just deploy this Scavenging Ooze.
Oh yeah, start padding that
and
life
then
total back up.
leave Liliana on 1 so that you can... Oh.
Nope.
Oh, I see.
It's a combo.
He's gonna discard it and then cast...
Colligan's command, pick it back up.
Yeah, kill your guy, pick up my Ooze, play Ooze.
This Jund deck looks so sweet.
Yeah, this is gonna go get probably a Swamp. Cannot get Forest unless he goes and gets a Stomping Grounds. I actually kind of like going and getting Stomping Grounds. Like taking the extra 2 there.
It makes...
I don't think there's a lot of out of nowhere reach from Sam's deck.
Finks? It is a Finks.
Yep. So he's going to gain a couple. Get some blocks in. Finks is only a 1-turn blocker because we know Doug is going to remember to eat it with a Persist Trigger.
A 0-turn blocker because he's going to Edict it with Liliana and then eat it.
That's a good point.
Yep.
So Liliana, and in the graveyard, eat it.
Persist Trigger on the stack.
And I believe this is a lethal swing. There's lots of fodder. Although he can only activate 1 more time.
Actually, yep, that's lethal.
That'll do
that
it.
That is Xaxes. All right, so
Doug takes our match 2 games, 2-0.
Jund over Elves. So that game played out pretty similar to how we talked about.
Yeah.
Where Doug's just going to fire off removal spell after removal spell, take all of Sam's momentum away, and then just close the game out with a big Tarmogoyf, or in this case, a big Tarmogoyf and a big Scavenging Ooze.
Mm-hmm.
A ham sandwich. It doesn't really matter.
So looking at the sideboarding options, we didn't talk about what Sam brought out, but he took out the Reclamation Sage, the Spellskite, one copy of the Zuri, and the very, very large Behemoth.
I don't know how I feel about him taking out the Spellskite. Spellskite seems pretty solid in this matchup.
There's a lot of targeted removal from Doug. I think Spellskite probably needs to stay in.
Also, it blanks all his lightning bolts.
I would definitely agree with that. I think the way Doug boarded was actually pretty good. I like keeping Bob in. We've already talked about this a little bit, but the Kitchen Finks would have been a relevant draw because his life total was under some pressure.
So I saw a spicy meatball in Doug's sideboard toward the front. Feed the Clan. A modern staple at this point. Makes me so sad that people are just playing 2-mana gain life cards.
You have to be able to beat the red deck.
I was
The
about
red
to
deck
say,
is very good.
it is a necessary evil, though, because you don't want to lose to Lightning Bolt deck.
It's effectively drawing you a card because you get to play the game for an extra turn.
Or 2 turns if you have a Tassagram play.
Yeah, if you
or
got...
a Tarmogoyf.
Yes,
Woo!
essentially.
So spice.
Olivia probably not ever going to grow to that size. Maybe.
She only needs to activate once. They have, like, Eidolons and stuff.
That's true.
You can shoot their stuff. It'll be alright.
Pink.
Oh, man. Doug playing the combo deck. 4 power creatures and Feed the Clan.
That is the combo in Modern. You heard it here first at the Wasteland.
From Nathan Satterfield at Facebook.com.
Ah.
Right. From us in the booth, we're going to go to a short break before round 2.
Yeah.
We're going to try to set up all these, or resolve all these technical issues we've been having. But we will be right back momentarily at Modern Monday at the Wasteland Gaming.
Bye now.
Bye.
Hello and welcome back to round 2 of Modern Monday at the Wasteland Gaming.
Hello. All right, so for round 2, we have a twin mirror of sorts. We have Carter Norris on the right playing Living Twin.
And Heidi Lee playing Grixis Twin. So these decks are looking to kill in similar fashions. But I think there's a small difference in how they get there.
So Carter can also just win via Living End and putting in a bunch of Minotaurs and Shriek Maws and spiders.
Giant spiders.
Big old spider. Twin up a spider. I've seen that before.
Oh my.
Oh baby. All right, looks like players are looking at their hands. In the blind, I would have to give the edge to Heidi because he has blue mana.
And counterspells.
Yeah, Remand is insanely good against Living End. Not sure if you've heard. Also, Carter is going to do approximately 1 million points of damage to himself setting up.
With that mana base, yeah.
Well, not only that, but the cycling and the
street rates.
Yeah. And so it lets Heidi kill him on a more fair axis.
Looks like Carter's going to fetch and shock himself here.
To cycle. This is exactly what we're
Look to cycle something. Maybe a... Does this list play Monstrous Carabid? Which cyclers have they cut to make room for the combo?
I think they cut like the Archetype or Architect's Will and maybe some of the more random niche cards. I think they also just probably cut down on the total number of Living Ends. I think they're down to...
Normal deck plays 3.
Oh, so it might be the same. Maybe they cut down on like Demonic Dread or something.
Well, it looks like he is still playing Architects of Will. That was the card that got cycled on the turn. So an interesting brew from Carter here. We'll see which ones he has access to.
He also has a Deadshot Minotaur in his hand, so he's keeping that one in.
Yeah, so Heidi's going to fetch her end of turn.
Maybe the Pale Recluse, maybe the 2-mana ones?
Yeah, potentially. There's usually a couple of planes cycling ones because the normal Living End deck plays 1 Godless Shrine to go get. So it's potentially the Pale Recluse that's not there. I don't believe this deck has access to white mana.
I hope not, because that's an awful lot of colors.
That is a lot of colors. They were 4 colors before, and adding the blue for the twin pieces. The deceivers, if you will.
All right, so Heidi's hand actually looks like he's going to kill Carter next turn. I see a Pestermite and 2 Splinter Twins in his hand.
He does have to be careful about a Violent Outburst in response, or, you know, like a Demonic Dread or something. Because Carter will have 3 mana open. Potentially. We'll see what happens when and if Heidi decides to deploy the Pestermite.
So that's the interesting thing about not only this deck, but also just most Living End decks, is their ability to instant speed Wrath their opponents is actually comes up a lot. Like maybe you're not getting the most value out of getting your Living End off. Maybe you only get like 2 or 3 creatures into play and they're 3 power guys, but that's why it's good against Affinity, because you can just Wrath them out of nowhere. And if they don't have an Arcbound Ravager, they just get got.
They're in a lot of trouble. Yeah, this Living End strategy is very powerful. Looks like a shock here from Heidi. Going to take him to 17. He chose not to play the Pestermite end of turn. So he's looking to just slow things down, maybe make sure that he does have a win, wait for Carter to tap out.
Yeah, I think he's very aware of what Carter is playing. And, I mean, the Cyclers at the beginning are a pretty telltale sign. But I think he's playing around getting a Violent Outburst in the middle of comboing off.
Certainly.
He's very aware of that. So maybe he's waiting until he has like a Remand or something to protect himself with.
Interesting that there's a basic forest here. And looks like Deceiver.
Carter, on the other hand, is not going to play around anything.
If Carter
slam it on the table.
If Carter chooses to throw down a twin here, we could see Pestermite in response tap it down, untap, I twin you instead.
Whew.
Losing with a Deceiver with twin on it, just salty. Oh, looks like we're gonna see a double bolt.
Oh, it looks like maybe those were the 2 red cards that I saw. So that would make more sense. A lot of red cards look awful similar. A lot of mountains and fire and lightning and whatnot. All right.
Stomping around.
Looks like Carter has another Deceiver Exarch in his hand and a copy of Demonic Dread. And a Shriek Maw.
Polluted Delta in play from Heidi. And the end of turn Deceiver.
Ooh, Vendilion Click.
This is a very bold choice to go with here.
I mean, if he has 2 Splinter Twins, he's dead. Which he does not.
He's only got
thankfully.
1 copy. 2 copies of Demonic Dread. Looks like a Street Wraith and a Shriek Maw. So we should see him taking the twin. And getting a mystery replacement card and then a draw for the turn. If either one of them are Splinter Twin, we're going to be going to game 2.
And Carter, ever the gentleman, is going to play with his hand face up. Cards that his opponent already knows about. Well, I assume he didn't draw a twin. I feel like he would just slam it on the
I
table.
think one of them is a fetch land. And I can't quite make out what the other is.
So, and another interesting thing about this Living Twin deck is it does play 1 copy of Kiki Jiki.
Yep.
Which may sound silly, but it plays around a lot of the things that these blue decks are starting to main deck, like Spell Pierces.
Yeah.
And Dispel. Like, there's not a lot of ways to counter a Kiki Jiki. It's like Remand and Mana Leak. But also the value of just like, you know, Kiki Jiking a Shriek Maw.
Oh,
just
yeah.
get you. Or a Deadshot Minotaur, kill all your flyers.
Oh, my.
Whew. Whew.
Deadshot has a lot of incidental matchup value in this particular match.
Oh yeah, I mean it kills Click, it kills Pestermite. All right, looks like Serum Visions from Heidi.
Copy of Spell Snare drawn.
Oh, there's a remand into the Splinter Twin. This is pretty much all Heidi was looking for.
So we're going to see a discard spell. Oh, no, that's
Tassiger.
Tassiger.
Oof. So putting Splinter Twin on a Tassiger.
I actually like leaving the Click in the graveyard here. Interesting.
I think he's just going to keep the cheapest card that he can play next turn.
So Heidi is giving himself the option to play Pestermite, untap a land into Remand.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like Carter's going to Violent Outburst.
And that, of course, is next turn, not this turn, because it's still on top of his deck.
All right, so Carter's going to get all his creatures into play from his graveyard, and vice versa. Ooh, and the Architects is going to...
So it looks like he cycled the Street Wraith just before the Living End resolved, so he's down to 11 now.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to target his opponent with the Architects, which he'll be able to see that Splinter Twin on top of his deck and that Remand, so probably going to bury those. So Was this violent outburst at the end of Heidi's turn?
I do believe so. The Tassiger was played, and then the Violent Outburst.
Okay.
So that's why. Yep.
Yeah. So Carter's gonna get to crash in with all of his gentlemen. For it looks like 10 points of damage.
Interestingly enough, Heidi has a swamp, which gives the swamp walk.
Can't block that Shriek Ring.
Can't block that. He also cannot block the Shriek Maw. So either one of those a fine target. For the enters play ability on the Deceiver.
Yeah, he's probably just gonna. Yep. Then he's probably just gonna block the 3/3 Architect's Will and just take 4.
It's a good line. He's got to hold off here for a couple of turns to find wherever that Splinter Twin went in his top 3.
I believe it got pushed all the way to the bottom. I believe Carter rearranged his cards, remand into Polluted Delta into.
Oh, so Polluted was the third card.
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, interesting.
So he's gonna take
Taking
6
here. Yeah.
go to 9.
Wouldn't be too afraid of combat tricks there, would you?
No,
I think blocking the 3/3 is fairly free.
I guess he was playing around another Violent Outburst, which Carter does have in his hand. To be fair,
Yeah.
I guess he's really just hoping to keep this Deceiver in play long enough to just kill Carter with it, but he's going to have to put another blocker or draw a removal spell, which we know he's not.
Oh boy. Fumble.
Up. And it's a Splinter Twin when it comes back up. It's a magic trick.
It's
No,
still
remand.
Still the remand.
Oh, we needed it to be a Splinter Twin.
Unlucky.
Actually, Carter's spot isn't too. Oof. That's an aggressive attack.
That is an interesting attack.
No, Heidi's spot is actually not too bad here. He gets to Pestermite and tap down another one of Carter's guys and get hit for 7. And then he has 2 targets for his twin, which he's hoping is the next card, but again, we know it's not.
Yeah, indeed.
Maybe he's just hoping to cycle his remand on literal anything that Carter plays. Because he knows it's in the top 3 somewhere.
It's true. I think in order to buy himself a turn, he needed to remand his own Pestermite to draw the extra card, and then for turn draw the Splinter Twin and force the second Wrath.
Sure.
He's still on a 2-turn clock, I believe, at that point. No, it's a 3-turn clock because there's only Dead Shot and Deceiver, I think, in the graveyard right now. But then his Tasker comes back in play, so he's actually in a much better spot there. Violent Outburst. Looks like he's just going to cast this.
Yeah. So this is Cascade. Cascade is going to trigger
he
even if he
has
chooses
to trigger
not
the
to,
Cascade.
Yep.
He's just going to choose not to cast the card. He can. I suppose Carter has the mana to just do it again. You can cast it twice, so
Remand is
Remand
not
does
an
not
actual
actually-
counterspell.
Yep.
There it is.
Yeah, Heidi had slim outs. Very unorthodox way to play with your own remands. But he did not find the line. So we will be going to game 2.
Interesting thing. We got to see one of the corner case scenarios where Architects of Will just like wrecks your opponent.
Yeah.
Like he set up both those cards with a Serum Visions,
and then you got all kinds of messed up.
Yeah, they got switched around, and then one of them was all the way on the bottom, and I don't know. Architects of Will is a sweet card.
Definitely. I think on the Tassiger Delve, if he leaves in the Vendilion Click.
Mm-hmm.
It dies to the trigger on the
Deadshot
Shriek Mob.
Minotaur. And
On the
Deadshot.
Shriek Mob. Was there a dead shot didn't come in.
No, not. Oh, you're right.
Dead shot was in the graveyard.
Correct.
It may have.
It would have switched places with the Tasker, and then, but the dead shot did come back because Carter had to kill it with his own Shriek Maw
Oh, that's correct.
because
Okay.
he didn't have any other non-black. So, regardless, it would have died because he could have targeted it with both the effects.
Yeah.
But also, Carter would have had another 3-power creature, so that actually would have ended up killing Heidi in a weird way. Because Carter wouldn't have to blow up one of his own creatures. But that's like...
I think if he gets to click out the last Violent Outburst, I don't know if Carter had it in his hand. Yeah,
he drew it the
that's a
turn
close
after
one.
he living.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Lots of very small pieces of interaction in this game between these two decks.
Yeah, having a 3-mana instant speed Wrath makes a lot of lines very complicated.
Yeah.
Also, the ability to get creatures back at instant speed, but also give your opponent creatures back is also weird because
Graveyard management is strange.
yeah, especially against a Delve deck. Like, there's a lot of intricacies of this matchup.
Oh, Carter's even playing Simian Spirit Guides.
Ooh.
That's very interesting. I wonder what cards he's actually cutting in his deck to make room for all this.
I don't think I think that was just his sideboard. I don't know if he's putting all that in. I think he's siding out the Splinter Twin combo entirely. I saw...
It does look like that.
Yeah, Pastormite, several Deceiver Exarchs, and the Kikujiki.
There's still a Deceiver right there and Kiki-Jiki.
Nope,
Maybe he's just trimming some of the Pestermites. Twisted Abomination in the deck as well.
So I think Heidi wants to side out of it. Essentially what you do in all...
Ooh, that's a Blood Moon.
Yeah, that was a Blood Moon.
Oh
That's a good one against Carter's 5-color deck. No, with this twin deck, you usually... In every game 2... Or the Grixis twin, sorry, I have to specify. But in every game 2, or most game 2s, you side out your entire combo and become more of a control-y tempo deck. And I feel like that's, he's going to pretty much stick to that plan in this matchup. The Blood Moon is definitely just a kick in the teeth for Carter because all his lands are, duels, fetches, all that. Fast lands.
The Grixis twin decks have also the option to just trim the combo and maybe leave 1 or 2 copies only of the Splinter Twin in. Usually you see Pestermite coming out in almost every matchup. It's a necessary evil. There are matchups that are non-interactive where twinning them is still the best option for you and you leave all of your pieces in. But normally you do go into that sort of mid-rangey control shell afterwards. I don't think a lot of the typical sideboard cards for Grixis Twin are very effective in this matchup specifically, so we may see him still look to be twinning, but the instant speed Wrath threat
that's the thing
is just it's really hard
it's so
to play
scary
around.
Yeah, you can tap their lands with your enter the battlefield triggers on your Pastormites and your Deceiver Exarchs, but
Yeah.
all they have to do is make it a turn 4 to just play around that.
If they're not careful and you just tap a land, I think you can get them sometimes.
I don't know. Counterspells are very good against cascaded cards, especially
That's
ones
true.
that you can't actually cast.
Yes.
As with Living In.
Dispel is very good if Heidi has access to it. So we see a Remand and a Blood Crypt here. Both parties on 7.
Mm-hmm.
Kiki-Jiki the draw for Carter.
Oh, baby. No, yeah, Carter has just a fistful of cyclers. I see a Deadshot Minotaur. Ooh, he even has a Deceiver Exarch already. So maybe we're going to see Carter try to twin Heidi this game.
That Carabid is monstrous and also in the graveyard now.
looks like Carter also brought dismembers in. Oh,
Just
upstairs.
getting aggressive, bolt your face.
I can respect that. Lightning bolt upstairs.
If you're leaving the bolts in, there's not many other places for them to go. Most of Carter's creatures not small enough to die to bolt. I think like Shriekmaw and the B plan of the Simian Spirit Guides.
So,
He's also got Kiki Jiki. That's a reasonable target to bolt.
interesting thing is Carter just drew a Simian Spirit Guide. This means that he can turn 3 Deceiver Exarch into turn 4 Kiki Jiki and just kill Heidi.
That is true.
Does have another bolt in his hand though, so let's see if he's gonna.
I'm not sure Carter has a third land.
No, but he still has another cycler. Or he just cycled the Street Wraith.
Yeah, I think he does have the option to cycle here as well. Here's a fetch. We'll see what he goes and gets. His life total, if he chooses to shock himself right here, is... Oh, very interesting.
Oh, is he going to Shadow of Doubt him?
There's a fetch in response. Perhaps. He's got the mana to do it with black and blue. Or double black.
Shadow of Doubt would be a sweet one.
No, it just looks like he's just shortcutting. We'll both shuffle at the same time.
Well, kind of.
We'll see what land Carter opts to go for. Just gonna play the tapped Overgrown Tomb main phase.
No, this is still at the end of Heidi's turn, I believe. Yeah, he's cycled that Street Wraith at the end of his turn.
Is he fetching in response to the cycle? Maintain priority?
Maybe. Nope.
No?
Just gonna go into his turn.
Yep.
Looks like we missed our land drop.
He's got Deadshot and Architects in hand, so he's got two chances. But the shields are technically down at this point because we've cycled on our own turn. Oh, he did. Now he threatens with Simian Spirit Guide. Although there's no green. Oh, bolt you. That's a lot of bolts, Mr. Heidi Lee.
I mean, if Carter ends up killing him with this Deceiver Exarch and this Kiki Jiki, he's going to feel not great about shooting all those bolts upstairs.
Both to the bottom.
Oh. I believe he cast it like a preordain.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was... I don't think he was supposed to draw that last card.
Here, give us 1 second, guys. We're going to alert our feature match.
We'll see what we get from the table spotter. Bear with us. We'll be right back. definitely saw you. Okay, so we're back. Why don't you give us a quick rundown of what was going on?
Okay, yep. So that's what we saw is exactly what happened. He cast it and did the scry before the drawing of the card. But since this is a weekly tournament, it is not competitive REL. So he just got a warning. And yeah, so there's also not a tremendous amount we could do anyway. But he just got a warning. He was told to watch it, take his time, read his cards, play at a, more reasonable pace. Just don't blaze through them. But everything's back in order. Everything's good. So did Carter miss his third land drop again? Ooh. Carter has...
So, yeah, it looks like he just went ahead and passed it back.
Yeah, Carter has a Ricochet trap in his hand. Whoosh, Ricochet.
Huzzah. Getcha.
Which is a sweet one. Usually found in the sideboards of these living index. It gives you a little... just more bolts. Gives you a little help against all the blue counterspells.
Oh, Gnaw to the Bone.
Gnaw to the Bone for...
He's going to gain 2 life for each creature in his graveyard.
I believe it's 12, so he'll go to 18.
There's a remand. So, Gnaw.
Oh, and there's a Ricochet trap.
He's removing Simian Spear and Guide to pay. That does not go back to your hand, sir.
No, he redirected the Ricochet trap to... Or, I'm sorry, redirected the remand to the Ricochet trap.
Sure. It does go back to his hand, sir.
Ha ha ha.
So we have 22-17.
Looks like he's going to get in with the Snapcaster.
Oh, yeah.
Them ambush Viper beats. So let's see. It looks like Heidi did leave in the Splinter Twins. I believe that is the card in front of his hand.
Yeah, some number of them for sure.
And a Deceiver Exarch, so he has the combo should he choose to pull the trigger on it.
See if he... Yeah. Oh, here's Tassiger on main phase. Exactly 5. All of them gone.
Alright. Nope. Carter continuing to miss his land drops. Which is actually surprising because he's ripped through a whole bunch of his deck.
Yeah.
I mean, his deck is almost entirely cyclers. Alright, let's see if Carter decides to fire off this Dismember at this Tasker. If there ever was a time to do it. It was probably on his last turn, so...
Ooh, Blood Moon.
Heidi couldn't act. Oh, Lord.
That is a nice one.
Yeah, that's going to make Carter super dead.
Carter cannot play the game with just mountains.
Yeah, I don't think his mana base... I mean, we saw a forest in game 1. But I don't know.
He doesn't have one here, for sure.
Yeah, he's...
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to lose 4 life to Dismember the Tasker. Oh, he's thinking about it. Nah. just nah. Not
He's
gonna do it.
he's looking at how much
To
he
pay
wants to
for
pay.
it.
Yeah. Has the option here to. Yeah, just gonna pay 4 life. And here's a fetch from Heidi. To go get a basic mountain. Play around Blood Moon. He's got to make sure he's got enough mountains when he plays the Blood Moon.
Yeah, just it's better than one mountain or several mountains. Just more and more mountains. Oh my god, this is gonna be so brutal. Yep, there it is. Ugh.
Oh my.
All right, let's see if Carter picks up his cards now or next turn. Like, he doesn't even have another cycler to, like, hunt for something else.
This is a brutal situation to be in if you're Carter.
Oh, well, he just has a bunch of mountains.
And he's drawn another mountain for the turn.
Ah, yes.
Except this one comes into play tapped.
Strictly worse than mountain. All right, let's see if...
He's going to pay 2 life for this mountain. And he's going to cast...
A Fulminator Mage?
Looks like, yep, Fulminator Mage.
Yeah.
Interesting. He can destroy a mountain with this?
Oh.
Except not the basic one.
No. So, Carter did this so he could play this Dismember, but he's going to be at 4 after he casts it.
Yeah.
And he's, like, pretty dead to this Snapcaster Mage.
He's just looking to block here, I think. No land shenanigans necessary. You just twin up the Snapcaster?
I think so. Like, you've already seen 2 Dismembers out of him, like, and he can't cast any spells other than, full mages.
I don't know that it matters at all at this point because Carter's.
Well,
he's
Heidi
drawing
doesn't.
slim.
Heidi doesn't have a threat. Like, Heidi can't do anything.
He needs to draw any threat because he can cast
He has
just about all of them except for Vendilion Click.
Sure. He has a second copy of Blood Moon and a Splinter Twin in his hand. Here's a Mountain tapped.
There's a Deceiver.
All right.
I should be game.
Just like we drew it up. We're going to cycle this and go get a Swamp. All right. We can cast red and
Swamp
black
is reasonable.
spells.
Swamp is reasonable here.
Ooh, I believe if he is playing Pale Recluse, he can go get a Forest with that cycler. It has Forest and Plain cycling.
Yep. He's shown us all of the other ones, so I would not be surprised if he also has that.
Oh, so he has a Demonic Dread in his hand, but nothing to cast it on.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, here's a target. Just in time.
It is a sorcery, so...
Yep, it's not quite just in time.
I think it might be time to scoop him up, Carter.
He's not of a blue source.
And
yeah,
this twin is going to make you super dead. In response, that's not how... And dispel it anyway.
Oh, I had it anyway. Oh, okay.
Just the showmanship.
All right, so we're going to see game 3 between these two players.
So, Carter should have some Beast Withins in his sideboard or his main deck. The usual Living End deck does. Maybe that's one of the cards that he sided out. Or not sided out, but cut from the deck to make room for the Splinter Twin combo.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because Beast Within is kind of a card that people usually forget is in that deck. But this is why it's in that deck, is because you just cannot beat a Blood Moon. That card is a beating.
No, if you're going to be greedy with your mana base, especially playing as few lands as this deck does, with as many cyclers, you need to be able to have a strategy when people are packing Blood Moon. I don't particularly like Blood Moon in 3-color decks, but in that situation, it was just fine.
No, yeah, and that's the thing. So, a year ago, or maybe more, when Jund, or actually it was more than that now, it was when Deathray Charm was still in the format, but people, and Jund was the biggest deck in town. It was Jund and
Pod.
Birthing Pod. And the Blood Moon was the card that people brought in against Grixis and Jund and those 3-color like mid-rangey decks to hose them. And I think it's kind of funny now that since Amulet Bloom and Tron are such big things in the format, just like even the 3-color decks are like, I don't really want to play this Blood Moon because it still hurts me, but I kind of have to. It's just an interesting way that the format has developed over time. Modern is one of my personal favorite formats in Magic. Just super, super in-depth, super interesting.
I will readily admit that it is my favorite format as well.
I don't know how much you've played Vintage, but that format's sweet.
I could take or leave Vintage. Modern I have to have it.
What?
Modern I have to have it.
Oh my goodness. Do you hate fun? Do you hate Ancestral Recall?
Absolutely. Hate fun.
You. Looks like both players are going to go to 6.
If I want to play with Ancestral Recall, we'll bust out the old cube. The cube draft.
Yeah.
That is the best place to cast that card.
Playing Vintage is like playing Cube, except way more consistent.
Constructed
and it's awesome.
constructed cube, the idea of it wears on me. That doesn't sound good. Which is essentially what you're doing.
Agree to disagree then.
Sure, absolutely.
But you're wrong. So it looks like players are both going to 6. So you heard it here first, guys. Third time in a row, Nathan Satterfield at Facebook.com hates fun and also Magic and probably puppies. Cute little puppies, definitely.
Oh, puppies are great.
Just fun and Magic.
You can't get me with that one. No, I will never admit. Puppies are awesome. So this looks like 1 land here for Heidi. He's on 6. His hand is reasonable, but you want to hit your land drops here. So he's going to ship it back and see if his 5 has a couple more sources of mana.
Yeah, he wants at least some amount of interaction. Or else he's going to get living ended out of the game. Like, he needs some kind of remand, mana leak, negate. I just saw a negate in from a sideboard, actually, while he was shuffling his deck. So the quantity of cards doesn't really matter, because some of your cards just don't do anything, like the lightning bolts. You just really want to be able to defend yourself against getting comboed off. All right. Looks like both players are going to 5.
We'll see a very... We may see the old cripple fight, the 5-on-5 hands.
I don't know. I think a deck like Carter's mulligan's way better just because of the amount of cyclers.
Oh, yeah. The cyclers definitely help.
Like, because...
You need critical mass to function with the Grixis Twin deck. But if he hits his land drops, he can, Serum Visions his way into a reasonably good hand.
But that's what this is all about, right? Is hitting your land drops and being able to do stuff interact with your opponent. So Carter is able to keep a 1-lander like this on 5 that has 2 or 3 cyclers in it, and he's able to easily find his land drop while also putting creatures in his graveyard to get ready for a living end.
Yeah. You advance your game plan, get pressure, find land drops. Sometimes the difference between 5 and 7 is very small for that deck.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that it definitely mulligans better.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you didn't see the number of cards in his hand right now, like, this would just look like a regular 7 keep from Living End. And sure enough, he found his land drop. I believe he has 2 lands in his... Nope, just 1. That's a Twisted Abomination.
And a Wooded Foothills, I believe.
All right, Carter continuing to dwindle his own life total with his increasingly greedy mana base. Ooh, the conservative forest.
I love this forest. I could not be happier that he is aggressively getting these basics. He needs to also find swamp now to make sure that he can operate underneath the Blood Moon. Because if Heidi draws it and has the third land,
oh, he's gonna slam it on the
lights
table.
out. Yeah, it would have just been lights out.
Well, he's gonna go cycle Twisted Abomination to go get that swamp right now.
Yeah, perfect. This is great. This 5 ended up being very, very good.
And it was a one-lander too. Just the power of the cycling mechanic at work. He also has a Dismember in his hand, which is pretty solid. Because I can foresee Carter losing this game if Heidi rips, like Deceiver Exarch Splinter Twin, just twice in a row.
He is still a little soft to an aggressive draw, but that's not really happening here. I don't know if Heidi's going to have the resources to make an aggressive tempo type of draw work in this situation. There goes the Carabid.
Oh, and we found our Violent Outburst. Now we actually need him to cast a Blood Moon now so we can have red mana.
Heidi's going to shock himself with the Steam Vents. See if he has plays here. Just going to continue to ship it back and bide his time. Just make land drops.
This is a pretty telltale sign of having a...
Well, there's the red.
Vendelion Click or a Deceiver Exarch or... Oh, not going to play it. Oh, he drew the twin.
Very interesting. So Knot of the Bone. This looks like an end of turn Knot of the Bone, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It is an instant.
So it looks like he'll gain 8 life, go up to 22. So interesting. Heidi actually has the combo in his hand right now. So let's see if he goes for it or waits until he can defend it with the negate that is also in his hand.
He's definitely interested in knowing what Carter's doing on this turn before potentially going for it. This may just be a suspension. Yeah.
Suspending of Living End, huh?
I like the suspension. You've got the Dismember in your hand. You're just going to be able to slow play this. It also taxes some of the cards in Heidi's mind because, you can keep a Remand in your hand to make sure that never goes off.
But you can't play, Deceiver Exarch into Splinter Twin while trying to keep counterspells up.
Looks like we see him shock end a turn, and this is probably going to be a Deceiver Exarch. Yes.
Yep, which is probably going to eat a Dismember. So Carter about to burn through all that extra life he gained with that Knot to the Bone.
He does kind of have it in his back pocket again. I don't see it in his graveyard. Is it just off to the side? Maybe
yeah, Carter is playing with 2 or 3 rows of his graveyard because his graveyard's so important for this deck.
It is relevant because that card has flashback for the same cost. Looks like he's not pulling the trigger just yet. We're just going to see an attack. I don't know if Heidi has the 4th land.
No, he was missing it.
Yeah.
So Carter just cracked a fetch and shocked himself to put the fear in him. All right, and a lightning bolt going upstairs.
Looks like we missed a shock from Heidi. Got everything fixed now. 15-15 in game 3. Excuse us, 14 now after this attack.
So it looks like Heidi has his 4th land now. So, ooh. And he also has a Pestermite.
He does not have a second source of red just yet.
Oh, no, because he fetched for the watery grave.
He's got the watery grave.
Oh.
He needed a source of black and didn't have a polluted delta to go get swamp. Although he is setting himself up nicely for a blood moon. If he can deploy, I think he's got a Tassiger in his hand. If he can deploy Tassiger and then play, no, there's the source of black if he wants it.
No, I think he's just gonna play it safe.
I don't think he has the blood moon in his hand.
I mean, Carter has like 4 cards in his hand. And he just has not played the land.
So here's the fetch. I think we're gonna see a remand. It's a little dangerous to go for. He could have Ricochet Trap. He also has Negate as backup, though.
Yeah, I think I would rather... I don't know, like... If this resolves... Is that lethal coming back?
I don't think you want to let it resolve either way, because he's going to have a board presence, and then you're just so far behind. Grixis Twin doesn't have the tools to combat that.
Oh, it is. It is lethal, also.
Okay, yep.
Oh, so he does have a remand and a negate.
Yeah.
So this is solid.
That's one of those feels bad moments for Carter. I mean, you have to know that he's saving it and that it's probably going to happen, but the fact that he does have it is just doesn't feel good. So with the forest and the swamp, Blood Moon, not going to do a whole lot here.
So interestingly enough, if Heidi draws another land, he'll be able to twin Carter with negate backup. And Carter has the Violent Outburst in his hand. And a Demonic Dread that he is going to cast. Alright. So...
Okay, so he's targeting that.
Yep. I would like to cast this Living End.
And there's the negate. Looks like the negate's going to resolve, and then our favorite Deceiver Exarch will not be able to block.
Alright, so here's a Violent Outburst.
Yeah, and then this one is going to resolve.
Oh, yeah.
Assuming that the last one is not in his hand. It should be in the deck. I think there's one copy in the graveyard, one copy in his hand, and one copy still waiting for this Cascade trigger to resolve.
So time was just called in the regular portion of our tournament. The players at the feature match table have a little bit of extra time for us to set up, and they also had a judge. They also had a judge call earlier. So they are going to play for 5 more minutes, and then we will start end of game procedure. But I don't think this game is going to last 5 more minutes, to be honest. Because Carter has a lethal board, and Heidi has a turn to figure out how not to die to it. Carter also has the Dismember as backup to keep him from getting twinned, which is the only way I can see Heidi winning this game now. Alright, so I believe Heidi's hand is a Pestimite and a Splinter Twin and a Tassiger. Alright, Tassiger is a decent start. I mean, it's a blocker, and it blocks pretty well. I mean, this Street Rate's going to get in there, but it also leaves up enough mana to cast a Pestimite.
This is still a difficult spot for Heidi.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's got a 6-power attacker in Abomination and a Swamp Walker in Street Raid, so it's going to be very difficult for him.
So, interesting. Let's see if Carter decides to use this Dismember on this Tasker to try to get him for lethal. to which Heidi will play a Pastormite and tap one of his attackers, and then untap and Splinter Twin on the Pastormite to end the game.
We'll have to see what all is in Carter's hand here. I know he's got a copy of Kiki Jiki.
He has
the Living End, and can't quite tell what else is in there.
He has a Living End, a Kiki-Jiki, a Dismember, and a
what is that last card?
I can't.
I think it's a
really
black
tell.
card. I can't quite tell. Shuffling it just a little too fast.
This is interesting. So even though Heidi has looked behind this entire game, he is still in a position to win if Carter gets greedy with this attack.
Oh, there's also a cryptic command. Look at that.
Oh, he has a cryptic?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, so this pre-combat should bait out the cryptic here. Yeah, that's not a big deal. Kiki Jiki is just going to be a 6-power attacker if it resolves. That's the only difference here, I think.
Has Carter played a land this turn?
He has not.
Okay.
I believe.
Oh, man. Kiki Jiki.
Is his last card a land? Can't quite tell what that middle one is.
All right, so here's the counter.
Counter
and tap your team.
Tap your guys?
I mean, I assume. Yeah, so
We'll wait to see what's going on here. Should see the Dismember coming down.
ooh.
That is interesting.
So, yep, Carter's
just gonna
thinking about
wait.
it. I mean, that's the only thing you really lose to right now, right? Is getting twinned out.
You have the flashback, so you're not losing to regular damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I would just play it safe.
This is a snap block on the Carabid, I believe, and then you take.
Oh no, he tapped his team with the cryptic command.
Oh right, that is correct.
He did not choose to dismiss mode.
Yes. So
unlike 90% of the time.
that would have put him at 1 if it were an attack and he blocks Carabid. I think the difference between 1 and something else is very small.
All right, let's see if Heidi can continue to stem the bleeding.
Wonder what his draw was for the turn. Could not quite see it. If it's a copy of Negate or Dispel.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a very bold attack.
Yeah, I don't like this attack. very much.
I wonder if he remembers about the
Not to the bone.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe he just drew another cryptic command.
Maybe so. That'd be very, very good.
That's the
So
kind of world I pretend to live in.
Deceiver, Pastormite, and Twin. Okay. So he's going to deploy two different tappers here.
And take 6.
So the only thing we know for sure is that Carabid is probably going to be attacking, if able.
Yeah, so this is really interesting from Carter's point
Is
of
that
view.
another copy of Gnaw?
No, he has a Street Wraith, the Dismember.
What's the green
living
card behind the Street Wraith?
That is the living end.
It's just the living end?
Yeah.
Okay.
The zombie at the bottom
Street
of the screen.
Wraith, yeah.
He also
that's
has
fair.
a Fairy Macabre in his hand.
Oh, that's interesting.
The living end decks usually bring that in when they're playing against other creature decks, just so they don't kind of got, you know. All right, so here's the Deceiver.
This one as well. I like tapping down the Street Wraith, I think. Because you're not going to be able to block Carabid profitably, and I don't think you want to throw Pastormite into the mix.
All right, so time has been called in the feature match area. So Carter will be turn 0, and they will have 5 turns to complete this game. But again, I don't think this game is going to last the full length of 5 turns. Alright, so it looks like Carter's just going to get in an attack for 3.
Yeah, Carter seems to be at 5 here. He cycled the Street Wraith. Missed that one when we were looking for time. Yeah, here's the Fairy Macabre.
Oh, is he trying to set up another...
Just getting everything out. Gonna flashback this Knot of the Bone for many, many, many.
Oh, he's just getting another creature in the yard.
Cycling the Street Wraith is essentially free. You pay 2, and then you gain 2 more when it's in the yard.
Looks like he's going to gain 6 here, go to 11.
Yeah.
Alright, so this dismember should be very, very good should Heidi go for it, which he has 1 card left in his hand, and it's Splinter Twin, so...
I don't know that Heidi has another option at this point.
No, he can chump these attacks once, but definitely not 2 turns in a row.
Let's see what the draw is.
Cryptic Command.
Scalding Tarn.
Nope.
Not quite what we wanted.
I wanted it to be cryptic so bad.
Yeah, I think he's just going for it here. Yep, here it is.
And here's the dismember.
Pay 4 life.
No, he paid the full 3 mana for it. Retail.
He has all the black sources available.
Full retail for that dismember. Yeah, get in there,
And an attack
Pestilmite.
for 2.
Get in there.
Ooh, that's a Violent Outburst. Is that lethal? I think it is.
Yep, that sure is. Because I assume he's going to block the...
It was lethal either way.
Oh, it's actually
was 10.
exactly 10. Yep.
Yeah, it was exactly 10 if he didn't have it. And we're gonna...
Actually, that's a monstrous Carabid he drew, so...
Oh, is it?
Yeah. All those Alara cards look...
Yep.
just
So
the same.
lethal in any case. Carter Norris gonna take down the match in turns and win 2-1.
Awesome. So that one went a little long, guys. Sorry about that. So we are going to reset up, and we will see you back in round number 3.
Yep. Hey guys, and welcome back to round three. Back in the booth, Nathan Satterfield.
And Jeff Stouter.
We've got an interesting matchup here today for you in round three. JD playing his red, blue, white tempo deck. It's like an American Geist. Burn spells, Angel, Restoration Angel.
American Geist in London.
Yeah, that's the one. And on the other side of the table, we have a bit of a mystery. Robbie is admittedly playing
A brew.
a very interesting and spicy deck today.
Such spice.
We saw some of the cards in his deck. We flipped through. I saw Wrath of God.
Oh, baby.
I saw Lightning Bolt. I saw Path to Exile. And I also saw Lingering Souls.
So
So it looks like a Mardu-ish control deck.
I feel like
But we also saw Windswept Heath.
we missed the setup. So we walked up to Robbie and we're like, Robbie, do you mind if we look at your deck so we can put the archetype into our overlay, yada yada yada. Robbie just kind of laughs at us. He's like, oh yeah, well this is a different one. And Nathan's eyes got so wide when he saw it. The third card I saw when flipping through it was Young Pyromancer, and right after that was a Wrath of God. And then he also
Yeah.
has Monastery Mentors and Lingering Souls and Night's Whispers.
Oh, wow.
Such
Oh,
spice.
my.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. Both of our players here are 2-0 in the Modern Tournament. So he has felled 2 individuals with this deck. That I almost put a question mark at the end of Control when I put it into the
Yeah,
overlay.
it's like a token deck, but I'm pretty sure there's
Ooh.
also just a Wrath of God in there too.
Yes, he has main
And
deck
lots of
Wrath of
removal
God.
spells.
He has Call Against Command.
Mhm.
Like we said, Young Pyromancer and Monastery Mentor. Lingering Souls. I'm trying to think. There was a lot of things. Lightning Bolts. I did see Lightning Bolts.
I don't see many lands for JD. He's got a copy of Celestial Colonnade, but not much else going for him.
That's a good one.
Yep. See if Robbie's going to keep his hand.
So if you have watched our previous streams, you've seen JD play some Standard, I believe. I think this is the first time he's been on our Modern stream. But sometimes he can keep a loose one. So.
Yeah, we'll see. He's on the draw.
Ooh,
so he's
is
got
that a Chandra?
A couple turns.
Whew.
Yeah, that's Chandra Pyromaster.
Woo! And an Olivia when he was flipping through.
Ooh,
Oh,
Godless
man.
Shrine.
This deck is something else. I like it. Young Pyromancer, favorite Magic card all time, not close.
When was the last time you saw it in constructed without blue? And he's going to go to 15. The classic... Oh, wow. He's going to see what's going on here. So, excuse me, there are 2 copies of Celestial Colonnade in this hand.
Can't cast his Lightning Bolt.
You just take the Mana Leak.
Yeah, the Mana Leak is the only card that actually does anything.
There's the Bolt.
Speaking of Young Peasy, he is actually in Robbie's hand right now.
There's Colonnade. He drew a copy of Sulphur Falls, which does not quite come into play untapped. Not quite.
Robbie already at 13 on turn 2.
If it were a race, he would not be winning.
Race right to the bottom.
Yep.
So
Well, he'd be winning that race for sure.
this Young Pyromat. Oh, he has 2 more copies of it in his hand. Oh man, if only Cabal Therapy was in this format.
Looks like we're going to see 2 triggers from this second copy of Thoughtseize.
Jeez, a piece.
So he's going to see that Lightning Helix was the only card he did not know about.
So for our stack of tokens that we have at the feature table, I did not anticipate anyone playing a Young Pyromancer tonight. So he is going to have to figure out something with his tokens. Look like he's prepared, or maybe not.
We'll see what's going on here. I think we're just checking Table Spotter.
Oh yeah, they're gonna quickly figure out that I did not think ahead that someone was gonna be rocking the Young Pyromancer Monastery Mentor combo wombo deck.
Yeah, we're communicating with the future match area. Just use something.
Looks like JD's just gonna play his other copy of Celestial Colonnade and pass. Just goblins. They're close enough.
They are red and 1/1, so we'll just roll with it.
That looks like JD's going to go down to 12 after this attack. So I see a copy of Lingering Souls in Robbie's hand. He's going to play the Monastery Mentor.
Monastery Mentor is going to get countered.
JD's like, no siree, Bob. Ooh. Scalding Tarn was... Oh, he already had an island. So now his hand is Scalding Tarn, Restoration Angel, and Cryptic Command.
Mm-hmm.
So JD's hand has really kind of panned out.
I think he's a little too far behind on the board and doesn't have much of an answer to this token-making machine.
Before blocks get you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's brutal.
And then he's going to get 2 more tokens off his Young Pyromancers.
Trigger.
Oh, man. So you actually see this a lot in... well, you used to see it a lot in Legacy, but now you really only see it in Vintage, where someone has 2 Young Pyromancers, and just every spell they cast is just a huge beating.
At this point, Robbie's very far ahead. We know that there is a copy of Lightning Helix in JD's hand.
No, it was taken. Yeah.
So
he has Cryptic and land, and another land.
He's drawn another land. He can give himself 1 turn with his Cryptic Command, but he's on the ropes.
It is not looking great for JD this game.
Is that another Young Pyromancer?
Yes, he has. He's had 3 of them in his hand for most of the game.
Oh my.
Ooh.
Was that the 4th one though? I think he drew the 4th one.
No,
it's Colligan's Command.
Yep.
There it is.
All right, Colligan's Command. Deal 2 to you and discard a card.
And
Doing its
make 2
best.
more guys.
Lightning.